Listener question. My gear is covered in soot from the Great Dorset Steam Fair. Hi and welcome to episode 115 of the Photography Explained podcast. I'm your host Rick, and in each episode I will try to explain one photographic thing to you in plain English in less than 10 minutes-ish without the irrelevant details. What I tell you is based on my lifetime of photographic experience and not Google. Before I go on, I need your help. I need your questions to answer. More on this at the end, but please have a think while you do this. Here is the answery bit. To clean a camera and camera lens covered in soot and steam, you need to work slowly and gently. Dry the camera out in a warm but natural environment. Remove any dust with a small brush. Use a blower/blower brush to get rid of harder to remove bits. Use a magnifying glass to spot unwanted debris. Work slowly, clean the outside first and remove the lens and see if any soot has got inside and remove that. But you need to work logically and with care. And if you've any doubts about doing this, pay someone reputable to get your camera cleaned professionally. Well, that was a long answer. Here is the full question. And my thanks to Terry from New South Wales for your question. Just one thing to say, Terry. You could have asked me an easier question first time up, couldn't you? Anyway, hope you're well, Terry. Here we go. The Great Dorset Steam Fair is in your neck of the woods, and the last time I went was 2009. If you've been yourself, you'll know that there is a huge amount of dust and soot in the air, getting into places I didn't know had places. Not only am I covered in soot from over 100 steam-powered vehicles, but so is my camera equipment. What do you suggest is the best way to clean my gear? Well then, for those of you who don't know this, the Great Dorset Steam Fair is, it's a steam fair in Dorset. This year it starts on Thursday the 25th of August, and yes, I might have to go there with my camera and see what kind of mess I end up in. The Great Dorset Steam Fair is an annual show, not only for steam-powered vehicles and machinery, but it also has live music, food, drink, all sorts of entertainment, and you can camp there too. But the main thing is the steam-powered vehicles and machinery. Want to know more? Check out the website gdsf.co.uk. That's GDSF, Great Dorset Steam Fair. See what they did there. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. But before I start, Terry, one thing, prevention is better than cure. Don't get your camera and lens covered in soot. Don't do this again, okay? And what is the problem with soot? Well, soot is a very fine thing. It's carbon particles resulting from incomplete combustion of hydrocarbons, whatever that means. And yes, I did need Google for that, so sorry Google for denying your use. More significantly, it's a very fine dust, and it can get anywhere and everywhere. Soot is not the friend of cameras or lenses. Not a friend? Oh no. And throw a load of airborne steam into the mix and we have a potentially nasty combination to deal with. And I have to say this, what I'm telling you here is what I would do. But I've never been in this position before. So, big disclaimer there. I've never cleaned my camera covered in soot and steam. This is what I would do, okay? More on that later. Get the camera dry. So, moisture is another enemy of the camera. Place the camera somewhere in your home that's warm and dry. Not too warm, like an oven, just warm and dry where the camera can dry out naturally and slowly. Okay then, so, once you've got a dry camera, now we need to find somewhere clean to work. Now, I'm fortunate I have access to a white desk which I use for cleaning my camera and lenses. I make sure it's clean and dust-free first by cleaning it with a wet antibacterial cleaner and a clean, well-used microfiber cloth. Well used, so I'm not leaving bits of cloth everywhere. I have a directional LED light on the desk that I can move and get close in on what I'm working on. So first thing, check the moving parts. Now this is the thing that I do in the field before I put my camera away. I do a quick check to see if there's anything inside the moving bits. Hopefully there's nothing there. Zoom in, zoom out, rotate the focus ring, but I don't take the lens off. No, I don't do that. I only do that during cleaning. If there is something in there, you might feel it or hear it. Worth a try before you leave wherever you are, getting covered in soot and steam. And if you've swapped lenses in this environment, then that's fine. You'll just have more work to do. Note there, if you can have one lens that means you don't need to change lenses, then that will help you when you get back, believe me. And I must stop saying believe me. Brush. Well, I use a small brush to gently brush the dust off all the surfaces. I regularly clean the desktop surface so I'm not getting stuff on the camera that I've just carefully removed. Blower. I then use a blower to gently blow dust out of bits I can't reach, always conscious that I'm trying to blow dust, or soot of course, away from the recesses and hidden places and not into them. I have a very old blower brush and a hurricane blower, which isn't as bad as it sounds. It's just gentle puffs of air to gently remove stuff. Gentle is the key here. Compressed air. Well, I don't use this. I worry that I'm going to drive some debris somewhere I'll never be able to get it back from. Not for me, thank you. Right then, so next thing is take them apart and check inside. When I say take them apart, I mean take the lens off the camera body. Once I've removed the debris I can see, I'll gently take the lens off and see if any soot's within the mounting. If it is, I'll use a brush again to gently brush debris off the camera body, working away from the sensor and not to it. And I might use the blower again just to make sure. To be 100% sure, I bang the camera body on the desk and see if any debris falls out. I do this again with the camera lens. Not too hard, mind, I don't want to break them. Just kidding, don't bang them. I was only kidding there. No, do not do that. Oh, it sounds tempting, doesn't it? Give your camera a little knock and see if anything falls off. Do not do it. Just use a brush and a blower and be gentle. Right, the camera body. Well, I cleaned the camera body with a very slightly damp, clean microfiber cloth. I cleaned the viewfinder and LCD screen with the same lens cleaning solution and cloths I used to clean my lens. Camera lens, talking of which, well, I cleaned the camera lens body down with the same slightly damp microfiber cloths. I used lens cleaning solution and disposable wipes to clean the front and rear lens elements. The camera sensor, well, I used the blower to gently remove anything in there. I don't clean the sensor myself. I get this done professionally when I go to a photography show. But I do have a thing that magnifies the sensor so I can have a good look and know if there's a problem or not in there. I once cleaned a sensor and had a problem with it, so I've been scared off ever since. Not that you need to be scared, but you need to know what you're doing. Magnifying glass. Yes, I have a magnifying glass. How utterly old school of me. This helps me find small stuff. Well, not so much small stuff with my dodgy aging eyes. Medium-sized stuff too. And this is all I do, using basic stuff, but lots of time and lots of care. Now, if you're not prepared to give this a go, pay to get your camera and lens cleaned. And don't do it again. Don't make the same mistake that Terry made. Prevention better than cure. Don't forget to clean your camera bag inside and out. Now, if your camera was covered in soot, your camera bag's going to be in a much worse state, isn't it? And let's not forget the inside of your camera bag where you put your camera. Very important and easy to forget. And then there's you. After a day being exposed to steam and soot, my final recommendation is a nice hot shower. The talky bit. Well, cleaning something like this yourself is a risk. There's a risk of getting soot in somewhere and causing some damage, but I have to say that risk is pretty low. Clean your camera lens as I do, and you will probably be okay. I've worked in quarries, construction sites, deserts, and other very dry and dusty environments, and I've never had a problem. But if you're not sure about doing this, don't do it. Go somewhere and get your camera and lens cleaned properly, and ask them lots of questions about how to clean your camera while you're there. Always worth doing. If you are comfortable doing this, crack on, but be aware that there is a risk of something not being removed and causing damage. This is not a risk-free thing to do. Now, this of course applies to me, and I accept that risk. And if I do all this and damage my camera, then it's down to me, I'm afraid. So all I'm saying is think before you do this and make sure you're comfortable before you do this. But to counter that, I've not had a problem with my Canon 6D having cleaned it how I do above. But then again, I've not had a camera covered in soot. I need to say that I have never been in an environment full of soot and steam, which sounds like an awful combination. Kit that I use, how much does it cost? Microfiber cloths, very little. Blower brush, not a lot. Hurricane blower, well, you can get this lot for less than £20, $20. It's not a lot. And then there's the expensive stuff. I use Eclipse lens cleaning solution. No, I'm not being paid to say that. That's £10 to £20/dollars per bottle. And I use pec pads, £15 to £20/dollars for a pack of 100. So 50 to 60 quid, $50 to $60, and you can be fully kitted out. And yes, that's the first time I've used bucks as a currency, and it didn't really feel that comfortable for me being English and all that. Prevention. Not getting your camera covered in soot is the answer, of course. More on that next week. What do I do? Well, I've never been to the Great Dorset Steam Fair, so I've never been in this unique and unfortunate position. But I have told you what I would do. Related episodes. Nothing relates to this. Nothing. Next episode. Well, Terry sent me another question, which is thankfully a bit easier to answer, and it is the logical next question after getting covered in soot and steam. So, in Photography Explained podcast episode 116, listener question: I want to go out and shoot in the rain, but my camera is not weatherproof. So get your question answered. Get your question answered like Terry did. All questions. You're not limited to one question here. Oh no. That's what my podcast is all about after all, answering your photography questions and not mine. It's much nicer being able to answer somebody else's questions. So please get in touch with your question, and not only will I answer your question, but I will give you a shout out on that episode, which must be nice. Just head over to photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start. Thanks for listening to my small but perfectly formed podcast. Excuse the croaky voice. Normal service will be resumed soon, hopefully. To find out more about my podcast to find out more about my podcast and do stuff to help me, check out the podcast website, which is photographyexplainedpodcast.com. This episode was brought to you by me, loving answering the questions from Terry over there in New South Wales. I hope you're well, Terry. That's at least 4 shout-outs now, which can't be a bad thing. And I've been fueled by a cheese and ham and tomato omelette, which was very, very nice and made by Mrs. M, which was very much appreciated. I've been Rick McAvoy. Thanks again very much for listening to me and for giving me 10-ish minutes of your valuable time. And I will see you on the next episode. Cheers from me, Rick.